right now. All right. So welcome everyone. The platform sprint review. Basically, my name is Balázs Bézi, as I most of the times I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Scrum Master for some of the platform teams. And today's review is going to take around 60 minutes. We're trying to keep it under 60 minutes. And of course, as usual, you can ask your questions in the comments, and we will get back to the questions at the very end of the demo. Please keep in mind that we are not able to answer price-related questions, and please phrase your questions so we can actually answer those. But we are very happy to receive your feedback if you just putting those in the comments or have some questions regarding the demo what we are holding. That is very welcome. So please ask your questions and let us know what do you think about the demo as well. And without further ado, I hand it over to Maciek.
Yes, thanks, Balázs. So hello, everyone. My name is Maciek, and I would like to bring you some introduction and overall agenda for what we can expect on that meeting. This is a product review for the platform project. So we will cover last 2 weeks of development, and we'll show what has been brought to you, what is under development. At the end, also a few words about the plans of all teams like involved in the whole platform initiative. Let's go to the next slide, please. So yeah, the ultimate sprint goal was to deploy stable version 22 of platform on testnet, and this has been achieved. Actually, just to provide you with some more details, we had 2 testnet deployments. The first one happened like a bit more than a week ago, but yeah, we didn't announce it really publicly because we used the time to just stabilize this build, identify as much critical issues and like concerning issues that possible, and yeah, this will be covered in more details by the representatives of the protocol team during the presentation. But aside of that, we also had many other important stuff to cover and to focus on. So besides elaborating on the release process itself, and beside of summarizing the whole scope and the functional increment that has been provided to you with the version 22, we'll also elaborate on the fee system implementation, provide you some update on that, where we are and what will be the further steps in regard to building the whole platform fees. Then we'll get you through some improvements provided with our in-house storage solution, the GrowthDB. A bit of update on SDK, which will be focused on persistent storage synchronization in WalletLib, and also some changes that are improving the overall quality of the SDK being executed in a browser. Then a few words about Tender Dash and the whole, let's say, stabilization process of our latest version 0.8. And yeah, sorry, I forgot that with the SDK part, we'll go with a short demo of last changes that were just merged. Yeah, so from that point, I can leave it further for the teams, starting from, I guess, Ivan, and yeah, I will take just a bit of your time also at the end to to cover the objectives for next weeks. So thanks, Balázs. I'm handing the voice over.
Thank you, Maciek. Hello, my name is Ivan Shumkov. I'm a platform developer, and I'm honored to share some updates regarding our main sprint goal, releasing platform v22. And I'm happy to say that it's released eventually. And yeah, on Testnet yesterday night. And during these 2 weeks, we crashed a bunch of bugs. Some of them were pretty interesting, and eventually, after some testing, we had some iterations of DevNet. We released all platform components and deployed them on Testnet. So SDK for JavaScript released as well. So feel free to test, and there are some breaking changes. We're gonna post the highlights and release notes soon in Dash newsroom. But today I'm gonna share some, really briefly, some highlights of the 22 release. We already talked a few times about some of them, so it won't take too much time today. Probably the most significant update comparing with previous versions is our new storage, what we call GrowDB, and comparing with our previous solution, what's called Merc, which is basically key value storage, is authenticated, basically the Merkali structure on top of it, based on AVL trees, has some downsides for the functionality what we need to implement. And comparing with the previous solution, the GrowDB has the hierarchical data structure. So it's not just one tree as previously, it's like the tree of trees, basically, and it allows us to build pretty interesting functionality like secondary indices for documents. I will talk about it a bit later. Also, GrowDB provides very flexible functionality for iteration over the keys, of selecting keys. So you can not just like getting the keys by their name, but also iterate over them in different directions, in different conditions, and it's pretty cool. I didn't see anything like that yet. And using this storage, we built a new implementation of the indices for documents. Previously, we used the MongoDB, as you remember, and the problem was that MongoDB doesn't provide cryptographical proofs, which are required on the client side to verify that this data and the result set of documents what client getting back is actually valid and present in the platform state. Now we build this functionality for secondary indices from the scratch on top of GrowDB, and it allows almost everything what we were able to do with MongoDB, with some limitations. You can find in release notes this information, and we're gonna improve it in version 23. Also, data contract upgrade is the pretty interesting feature from my point of view. As you remember, previously you had to register contract and define the schema, and this contract is immutable. And even if you improve your application and add new features, you weren't able to change the schema inside the contract. Now it's possible, and you can add additional document types in your contract and define indices for them, add additional fields, and so on. You will find more information about this in the Dutch platform README soon. Comparing with the smart contracts, for example, which are not updatable, I think it's pretty interesting functionality for the industry. Master identities, we were talking about this a few times already on our reviews. The rationale behind it is to pay rewards to master nodes for participation in layer 2 consensus. And since the native token is the credits for the platform, and identities has the balance in credits, it's pretty obvious to just assign identities to master nodes. So right now, for each master nodes, we automatically create identities. Also, if the operator rewards is set for your master node, that special identity for operator will be created as well. And we have a specialized system data contract that we call master node reward shares, where you can adjust the shares of your rewards. The next thing is the identity improvements, what were defined in DIP 11, but it wasn't implemented yet. But the value of this functionality is pretty important because it's more like about how you manage the keys on the client side in a secure way. Identity public keys are using to sign state transitions, and different state transitions has different value. For example, you can update some document, right? And use some key to sign the state transition, or you want to update identity itself and add additional keys or disable this identity. And of course, this operation has different value and different risks, like losing funds or losing the ownership of document, for example. So these are special purposes and security levels allow us to define which keys should be used for which purposes and how the critical of the security for these keys.
Would you mind if I elaborate really quickly on that?
Sure.
I just would like to add something. Hello, I'm Simon Westrich, one of the authors, and I wrote in the security level and key purposes in DIP 11. I would like to kind of quickly say, just reiterate like how cool that is. It basically allows for clients to say that there are background tasks that interact with platform, and you don't want imagine you're on your phone and you want to send an NFT or something with high value to somebody else. Well, you probably, maybe you don't even want to do it on your phone if it's very high value. You want it in a hardware wallet. Maybe if it's medium value, you have it on your phone, but you have to put in your PIN. And maybe if it's a background task, updating like for example, that last time you connected to the service, or something that that helps with your synchronization, or something like really background. Well, you don't want to have to type in your PIN. So those are like really low security elements. And for example, if someone were to take your phone and update the last time they connected to a service, I don't think you really would care. If somebody were to steal your phone and like able to send off your phone thousands of dollars worth of something valuable, you would care heavily. So this basically allows for those different security levels on clients. And so it's a pretty cool feature. Thanks.
Yeah. Improved documents pagination. This feature was planned a long ago, but we didn't implement it. And during our work on the new security system, realized that it's much more efficient, even for the from the proof size wise. And basically, what is pagination? So when you fetching documents, there is always the limit. Right now is 100, and if you want to get the more than 100, you usually use offset, like give me the next 100, and that's how you implement the listing of all documents, right, in your applications. Previously, you had to pass the offset as a number, like give me the since 100 to 200, and this approach has several downsides, and most significant maybe on the client side, because the list of documents could change even during the pagination. And for example, one of documents was deleted or replaced, and it went down because of sorting. And probably this next 100, you'll get already the documents that you already had on the first page. And but now we passing the document ID, basically the last document ID of your list, instead of offset, and listing the next, the further documents instead. It's a pretty good improvement for UX of applications. The next pretty cool feature is interrelated set communication. In version 20, we already announced that we improved P2P layer of the platform chain, and we removed communication, the consensus communication from the full nodes, and introduced additional commit message. So basically, when validators do the consensus stuff, they send the result of that to full nodes, which reduce significantly the number of messages what are propagating through the network. But this implementation had some downside, because validators didn't have direct connection to each other. And now we have it. So I believe we will improve the speed of this all consensus communication, and it's much more robust right now. The last one is more like things what we were looking for during past years, because each component of the platform were hosted in the own repository, and we had like a huge dependency tree of the components, and the release process was like awful. You need to release one thing, then release another thing, and third thing, and you need to do such releases many times a week, and it was like a huge like routine. It took a lot of time, and we started this process last year, and we moved all all components to one mono repository, and we improved some scripting around. We speeded up the CI, and previously it took like 20 minutes to wait. Now it's about 10, and the whole release process previously took several hours, and now to release it takes like 15 minutes, something like this. And that made all developers pretty happy, and we can deliver features faster with the good mood and karma, I would say. And I'm pretty happy. It was a long journey during this release, and we made a lot of improvements and released cool features. And I would like to say thank you for everyone, for all teams, the GrowDB team and Tender Dash team, and SDK guys who are participating in all this work. So thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, let's jump to the next one. Kostya.
Hi everyone, my name is Konstantin, and I would like to tell you a few words. So first, I'll start from the bug. So we use Red2 library for regular expressions, which is compiled to Wasm, because we want to run it both in browser and Node.js environments. And there was a memory leak, which was the reason of drive crashes. So we fixed it and the drive doesn't crash anymore. And the task we've been implementing right now is update state transitions. Identity update state transitions. This is a type of state transition which allows users to change identity public keys. So you can add new keys or disable some old ones. This is useful when we want to have keys that are only used for a specific application or to support some specific use cases. You can read some more information in Deep 11. Yeah.
I would like to add really quick, thank you, Kostya, why we're using Red2 for regular expressions. There is the way how you can attack the system with normal regex engines and create the regex that could take exponential time to process the text. And Red2 is the new library which ensure that all regular expressions will be executed in linear time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Konstantin. And let's see the GrowDB tasks.
Hey.
Hey, Evgeny.
I'll represent GrowDB team. My name is Evgeny, and I'm developer here. And we focused on 3 elements, and I'll start with new storage approach and why it was needed. As GrowDB was developed, it became clear that the way we worked with backend storage is very limited and error-prone. Less we couldn't open subtrees on uncommitted data because we support transactions while we're working with databases. And that's why we needed to track changes by ourselves, and that was a source of number of bugs. And also we had a limit on how many transactions we may have simultaneously, and it was only one. And finally, it wasn't pleasant to work with. That's why we agreed on this kind of refactoring. And as a result, our code base got much simpler in regards of storage interactions. And a side effect, one bug was fixed for V22. So we already see the benefits. And Also, it's a good basis for our next improvements like caching and most importantly at the moment, batching. That's the thing that is currently in progress. Also, these tasks included porting our errors drive library. So these changes could also be included in V22. Next are proofs version 2. That's what my colleague Wisdom was working on. Proofs version 1 was at the time when GraphDB support only path list key and value operations without any complex queries. And as GraphDB evolved, now we support many range types, offsets, limits, subqueries, even recursive subqueries, and that required a full re-implementation of proofs. And it is currently in progress, and it required changes to Merk library that we use in subtrees. These are marks done on first 4 bullets. And next is to, oh, sorry. Oh.
Wonderful. What a guest.
That's beautiful. I said earlier that I wanted to see his cat, and it happened.
Dream came true. All right. Sorry, Evgeny.
So the things that in progress is to take advantage of what of changes that were made to Merk in regards to a new range types and offsets and limits, and finally to be able to build proofs for complex queries I mentioned before, and also to verify them. And I think that's it. I would want to talk about improved serialization of nodes. I expect it's Sam to say.
Yeah, I'll talk about that really quickly. But before I do, I just wanted to quickly explain one thing you said, which is batching. So we haven't yet done batching, and Evgeny is going to be working on batching in the next 2 weeks. He already has started. And I just wanted to quickly explain what this is to our viewers. When we get a block full of state transitions, we need to execute those state transitions and be able to query the information as the block is being processed. But the block is a series of state transitions that happen one after another sequentially. If the block fails, we have to revert the whole block, which is a very rare occurrence. But if one state transition can actually be a culmination of many insertions into the database. Right now, what happens is if one fails inside of a state transition, you have to actually revert the entire block, because we're not able to revert just the batch. And this is actually kind of a problem. So while we can do that, it's much more efficient if we just atomically insert into GroveDB multiple operations representing one state transition, but in an atomic way. I hope people kind of got that, kind of understood what I said. Probably not, but maybe some did. Okay, this will be a little bit easier to understand. I worked very quickly. This was not a big task, but I thought that we would put it in on the improved serialization of nodes. Currently, when we were storing the data, we were actually using full-size integers for the length of data, and this is not really needed. And I did some tests, and using varins, we were able to save about, I think, 8% of space. compared to not using varents. So, it is a little optimization on the side there.
And I think yeah. Sorry, I think I clicked twice on the fees. So for the fees for the protocol part, as we have the word at Sam, please, Sam, would you continue with platform fees?
Yeah, sure.
If you are finished with the group DB.
Yeah. So platform fees is something that I've been working on a little bit with Javed, who's been working on bindings. Everything is in progress. This is the first sprint where we've started working on these, and it takes some time. V23 is basically focused on fees, and we're doing it in such a way that we had to refactor a lot of the code in order to get the proper methods. So there's actually quite a lot of work that's already been done. For example, apply contract, apply document for the fee calculation for both of those pretty much was already accomplished, except that it wasn't well tested. And I decided to rewrite it in a different way to be able to figure out a worst case scenario. And then you might be wondering, what is this worst case scenario? So for every time that you want to insert into a document inside of platform, the document satisfies the data contract. So for example, if the data contract is restaurants, and you insert Sam's Pizzeria in New York, well, it has to have a specialized structure. Now, this specialized structure might have some differences in size. For example, Sam's Pizzeria is, well, SAM apostrophe S. Okay, let's just say it's 12 characters long. It's probably more than that. If it was 12 characters long, but the name of the field actually can be up to 100 characters long. The worst case scenario of an insert is actually that you're inserting 100 characters, not that you're just inserting Sam's Pizzeria. So what the way the system works is that there's a first check to make sure that you have the balance necessary for the worst case scenario. And then once the worst case scenario, once the system verifies you have the balance for the worst case scenario, you will then execute the state transition, and you'll probably spend a lot less than the worst case scenario. It might probably be half the price. But again, we're talking about cents here, or less than cents, like millicents. But in the long run, 50% reduction in fee from the worst case scenario is very, very, very good. And the reason why I rewrote most of this is because it's one type of design pattern of writing code is to have the same code branches. So when you're calculating the fees, when you're applying the document at runtime, you want to use the same code paths as when you are calculating for the worst case scenario. But in the worst case scenario, you're not actually inserting a document. So you're inserting the worst case scenario of a document, which doesn't actually hold data. So it was a little bit of a refactor to get this complicated logic in, but it should be done momentarily. It's definitely going to be done in this sprint, but not today.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Then jump to the SDK. Not twice. Yeah. All right. Mikhail or Igor?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mikhail. I'm working on the side of the SDK part of the team, the SDK team, and on these sprints, we were fixing incoming chain logs that were incorrectly parsed when received via 0MQ channels. While fetching best chain log was working fine via core dash core calls, because they are returning JSON structure that is getting parsed okay. And what we did is changed the subscription topic to chain log signatures and just parse it as chain log signature message, which is available in our dash core lib library. So as a result, we have proper chain log instances in our DAPI nodes that are working well right now. Also, we were investigating the issue with the block headers verification in dash SPV wallet. Actually, we noticed that response from the dash core via get block headers sometimes returns mismatch links to the previous block header, and also sometimes are not accurate, but that probably is okay. So in the next sprint, we're gonna come back with the solution. We have composed the list of incorrect block headers, like example, so we can work on this. And also, we have enabled browser test execution in our platform test suite files. It allows us to execute our node tests in browser environment and ensure that our tests are consistent in our node and also in browser environment. I have a little demo to show you. I'm going to do that right now. Yeah. What we have here is we have another script command where our tests are getting bundled into the by Webpack into one bundle and getting passed into the Karma, which is test runner that runs Chrome instance headless and runs these tests there. So it takes some time. So what we did also, we enabled them in our GitHub Actions, which is our CI pipelines. So these tests are also getting executed on every pull request right now. I will show you how this execution looks like. This is almost the same tests that we have in our node environment, but these are running in our Chrome in the in the Chrome browser. Sorry. So there is a couple of tests, and yeah, here we go. Finished in 5 minutes approximately. So these tests getting finished in 5 minutes, and yeah, it's somewhere better results that we have been testing earlier in Firefox. So it's even more faster. So more faster. That means more builds, and you know. That's it from my side. I guess I will hand it to Igor.
Thanks, Mikhail. Hello, everyone. My name is Igor, and I'm a software engineer in the SDK team. As I mentioned on one of the previous sprint review, we should have put a lot of attention to the persistent storage integrity and its proper functioning in order to be able to provide fast second loads for the wallet and SDK. And after the huge refactoring, which was merged last sprint, so we had a couple of regressions on that matter. So instead of going with the implementing of block header synchronizations, I spent this week on making the storage working properly. This effort is currently in progress, and I will quickly show you. What is the idea of the of this effort. So first, I'd like. Oh, let me quickly. Yeah, I needed to drag this little pane. So on the screen, you can see the current representation of persistent storage in v22 version of the wallet. And as you may see, there is a lot of data, like the whole hierarchic deterministic addresses set for the mnemonic. And for example, some unnecessary data like the UTXO state for every address. So I decided to remove as much as unnecessary details from the storage as possible, because this might be a problem in further development. For example, if we decide to migrate storage schema for any reason, and well, in general, the least data we have, the better. So now storage will look like this. The wallet state compared to this one will just contain the information about the last known block. And yeah, we shall also add here the details about the wallet accounts. And that's pretty much it for the wallet. And for the blockchain data, we'll have block headers, transactions, and their metadata. The state of the UTXO and all the addresses in the HD private HD wallet will be calculated on the fly before starting the wallet. So yeah, I had to refactor some tests to make it work and some internals. So progressing with that, and the next sprint we shall finish with it and start working on block headers integration further. Stop sharing, and Balázs, I think you can turn the screen share on back to the presentation. The next thing is about the get transaction history feature and improvement for transactions, like for every transaction we providing info how much exactly money entered or left the wallet. This is in progress and covered by Alex Werner. And yeah, this is all from my side, and I'm handing over microphone to Ivan.
Thank you. Oh, this one. Okay, so during our testing, we figured out that instant log a bit degraded in some of the Core 18 beta builds, and we're not getting the instant logs for transactions. And actually, it's a normal behavior. Take a look at the deep 8. There are several cases when you can not get the instant log. For example, because transaction is already mined and chain locked. So we need to handle the chain logs as well. And for this purpose, during implementation of asset locks. The asset lock is the special transaction what you need to create on layer 1 to lock dash. Then you use it to mint credits on the layer 2. Oh. Someone, oh, yeah, thanks. To mint credits on layer 2. And at this moment, we used only the instant asset lock proofs. So basically the proof that you are locked some dash on layer 1. And when you're creating identity, you can mint credits. So for this situation, we implemented chain asset lock proof, which is based on chain locks. And now the identity funding is more robust in JavaScript SDK. Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So hand it over to Dima.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dmitry Golubev, a software engineer at TenderDash team. Well, our team last 2 weeks have been focusing on stabilizing TenderDash version v08. And the biggest achievement is we could finally make a green of our TenderDash CI. So that means unit test and D2 test are stable now. All of the topics that we mentioned on this slide are more or less related to this. So all of them are too technicals, and if we do not dive in each of them, I can summarize following. So our effort was focused on stabilization v08 because the consensus is a critical piece of our architecture, and this is the reason why we couldn't allow us to skip any potential issues which we could find. For instance, we spent really a lot of time for investigation of deadlock and data races issues, which are extremely hard for investigation. If somebody have experience with this, kind of agree with me. So, and the biggest advantage of the effort is the ability to easily get new features that will be added in Tendermint, like implementation of ABCI++, along with many other improvements, bug fixes, and other things which are already important in this version. Regarding our plans, in the beginning of April, we're going to start working on backport ABCI++, but fortunately, it will not take such long time anymore. Well, what else? In additional, v08 is a new version of TenderDash for our platform. The current version is v07, and it works stable now, and we hope we really soon will switch on v08. So yeah, we have a plan in next sprint to deploy v08 on a DevNet in order to test it in real as a component in real kind of in real other components together. So thank you for attention.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dima. Handing over to Maciek.
Yes, thanks guys for the update. Well, I hope that you all liked it, and I guess that before we come to the question part, I would like to briefly explain, just in a nutshell, the plans for the whole team for upcoming time. So regarding the protocol area, fee system implementation to be continued, as Sam was explaining, like there is some, this is a kind of a big effort to accomplish, but still this is the main fundament of the last version 23. So this will be on the table for a longer moment. Short-term goal: complete identities implementation. according to our DIP 11, and it's just like a few things have been left aside that weren't critical for the sake of integrating the version 22. So like they need to be just we need to chase this for having it completed for the 23rd version. On SDK side, integrating the SPV block headers into the wallet. So just a logical continuation of what guys from SDK team are working on right now. Next slide, please. Yeah, GrowthDB, still continuing the proofs implementation. The GrowthDB batching, as according to what Sam was explaining in the middle of the event. And well, Dima already mentioned a bit about tender dash plans. So still like making some maintenance and stabilization of version 0.8. Let's remember that the version 0.8 is one ahead of the current platform version. So it's like it will be provided with the next version of platform. So still many time to to assure that it's stable and correct. And yeah, one issue that is kind of an interesting one, to be honest, like verify same block execution from Tendermint. So the issue, obviously, you all are probably aware that TenderDash is built on top of Tendermint, and there is an ongoing issue related to the fact that in order to get the signature of the current state, we need to wait two additional blocks, and this is a known issue. The solution is being worked on by the Tendermint team. They are supposed to deliver the change. They announced it like to be delivered at the end of March. So we are about to verify that and integrate it in the TenderDash code base. And depending on how it will go, we'll be deciding. We'll be making some further decisions how to solve this issue like permanently on our side. Yeah, and that's all. Now it's question time. So hey, let's look at what have been stated there.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Maciek. So regarding the questions, I have these questions here, but I have it out of context because I don't know what they are referring. Hopefully, I'll ask it, and maybe some of you guys can figure out. All right. Do you know, Sam, what I was talking about?
Yeah, there's one around, it's nothing around tech. One of them is around redenomination. One of them is around where we can discuss community and adoption. I'll just answer that really quickly, if you don't mind. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So one question was, what about the community and adoption? Is there any place where we can discuss it? I think this part of Dash would be very interesting for the audience. So community and adoption, definitely. We have a Discord. I'm sure somebody on this call, not on this call, on the chat can point you to that Discord. Please, somebody do that, and you can discuss things there. We have a pretty vibrant community. The next question was, didn't some other want to redenominate the Dash supply? Yes, there was somebody who had been talking about that, Ryan Gull, and some other people that have been looking into that. Well, I'm not aware of any more efforts. It's not a DCG-led effort, so I can't answer more than that. Oh, we got some more questions in the meantime.
Yeah. Do you want me to read it out loud?
Yeah.
So when will the platform services be required on Testnet? When will POSE require the services?
Sure. I think I understand proof of service. So when will the platform services be required on testnet, and when will the proof of service? This is on v23. We'll set that up. So actually, it's most likely what's going to happen is we're going to release v23 that will be feature complete of platform, but we need v19 of core to be able to activate it. This will probably release a bundled version that will test the activation process before we go to mainnet. It probably will happen sometime after the release of v23, when things have been tested, when the platform we've done heavy security audits, internal, external. We've done a lot of other things to make sure that we're ready to go to mainnet. Now, there is something else that I do want to explain. Even when we go to mainnet, for this version, if you are not running platform, you will not receive a proof of service ban. However, you will not be receiving the same amount of rewards, because rewards will be split between the payment chain and the platform chain. So for example, if you don't run platform, you're not going to receive proof of service ban. Your node is going to stay up. You're going to participate in quorums, but you'll receive about half your rewards, which should prove enough of an incentive to run platform.
All right, thank you. So the next,
oh, sorry, yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to answer one of the other questions. So
let's do that. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, okay. So is Q2 for mainnet activation still actual? No, it is not. As I said, for the last quarterly call, we're looking at Q3 for mainnet activation. For right now, we're on the last version. For v23 is the last feature version of platform. So that means all the features will be in. And then at that point, we just need to try to break it and try to see if there's anything that we need to do in terms of security. At that point, there'll be a final release candidate, and then in v19 of core, it will be activated once v19 is activated on mainnet. So that's pretty much the time frame that we're looking at right now. But again, I'm pretty happy that we're working on the last feature version, which is fees, which is a lot less complicated than v22 was.
I see not like the question, but more like ask. We want a different ecosystem or different layers, such as Polygon. I think we're gonna work on the IBC interblockchain communication protocol after MVP, which will allow us to connect to the whole Cosmos Hub ecosystem. I don't know if it's related or not to this question.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan, for that. Just one thing quickly, what James Doe said, that he only heard half my rewards. That's not actually what happens. You'll probably, in the end, as a Mastodon owner, receive extra rewards. Compared to currently, because there will be all the platform fees that you'll also receive for. And the platform fees go 100% to the Mastodon network. They do not go to the miners. So just, it should prove some extra incentivization.
Okay, and what about this question? When -direct global use hack?
Yeah, I don't know what that question means.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any other questions? All right. Thank you for these questions. Also want to highlight and point to that when we are getting to the end of this review, we are out of that context. So you might write or phrase your questions in the context of, getting that certain information. But please keep in mind that we are actually answering these questions at the very end. So we might be out of that context of the context of the question you were trying to phrase. So please put the context in the question as well. Help us understand the question so we can answer those more appropriately. All right. Thank you everyone for the also for the teams and also for everyone who listened and watched us and provided some questions and feedback. And I guess see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. See you.